Hi everybody, this is Hybrid.
And this is White Sheep.
And yes, today we have a new comic book versus for you.
Number 37.
Yeah, we've done a lot of them.
Yeah, 37 so far. Over the course of 2 years. Of course, by the time this is coming out, I think the anniversary for me joining the channel is November 4th, actually. So, happy anniversary to me. But by this time, 37 in just about 2 years. That's with a lot of breaks in between. We're doing this pretty regularly now, but there was a point where we didn't do many for many months.
There was a point in time where we needed the hope again.
Yes, and we're... Josh stands for hope on our planet. Josh is insulted that I just referenced him to Man of Steel.
I'm not insulted, I'm just taken aback.
Yes. But anyways, this time it is Hellboy versus Blade, as you can see. I'm going to take Blade, and Josh has Hellboy, and what actually is very interesting and somewhat, it's pretty close. A lot of people wouldn't consider these two together in their, I don't think a lot of people would think of these two as, similar a lot. But these two actually, when we started researching for this, it turns out they're actually very, very similar.
Yeah. Honestly, we always wanted to do one with Hellboy. We wanted to do more non-Marvel, non-DC characters, like Darkhorse characters. Yep. Hellboy obviously being the main poster child for Darkhorse. He was the first one we wanted to go to. And then also, at the same time, Blade.
Well-known.
In the back
Wesley
of our...
Snipes.
We wanted to do something with Bane. Or, not with Bane, sorry. We wanted to do something with Blade. We just were waiting for the right character. And I think we found those right characters.
Yep.
It might be uncanny to some of you, but after the matchup, hopefully you guys will...
Yeah, hopefully you'll see what we see. It's funny, because... when I think of Dark Horse, I usually think of the Star Wars comics and Hellboy. Those are the two
Dark
things.
Horse.
You think of a dark. Oh, well, way to think out of the box. But this just real quick before we get started. Is that the picture of Blade from the anime, Josh?
Yes. All right. The problem with Blade is that he's one of those characters who you would expect to be popular and have a lot of pictures of, but they don't have a lot of good pictures
he's basically
of
Blackula,
him.
killing vampires.
Okay.
Half Blackula. Black Halfula? He's half a vampire.
Anyways, Hellboy. I have Hellboy.
And I have Blade.
So
I'll refer to as Blackula for the rest of the episode. Josh is not pleased.
I'll get started with Hellboy.
Josh is calling the NAACP.
Anyways, a lot of you guys probably know Hellboy from the Hellboy films. By Del Toro, portrayed by Ron Perlman, who, for lack of a better word, owns the role of Hellboy.
He owns
it.
Very
similarly like Jackman owns Wolverine.
Yep.
Downey Jr. owns Iron Man.
It's another case of, I think, almost Perlman has influenced the character, and those movies have influenced the character, kind of really like Jackman has influenced Wolverine in a way.
Yeah, we'll get to a part of this episode where you might be like, well, in the comics, Hellboy didn't really have that. But he does now, and a lot of that is due to the movies influencing the characters.
The movies are, if you haven't seen the movies, go watch them, because they're
very nice.
And the Blade movies are solid, too. I think Wesley Snipes, it's another character, Wesley Snipes is another guy, he's influenced, his portrayal of Blade has influenced the character a lot. Definitely looks more like Wesley Snipes now, too.
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes just got out of prison, by the way. Just in case you didn't know that.
Anyways.
Don't evade your taxes, kids. Not even Blade can escape jail, kids.
Okay. Alright, so like I said, I have Hellboy. His real name is Anung Unrama. If you couldn't tell by his appearance and his odd name, his odd real name and his odd nickname, he is half demon, half human. Now, his father is a demon prince. His mother is a descendant of King Arthur. So, technically, he is, the rightful ruler of England, while at the same time he will be a somewhat ruler of hell, which is quite interesting. You don't usually get that combination, considering how King Arthur, England, they're quite holy things.
That depends on how you feel about England.
True. Okay, but anyways, unless you live in the V for Vendetta world, but
I feel like if you're Scots, you still feel that way about England.
Ooh, or if you're from you're Welsh, from Wales,
Irish too. Northern Ireland, especially.
Okay, we're about to piss off a lot of Europeans.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, we're just pointing out.
We're going to start having European people think to themselves, we really don't like England.
Tom is going to come over here and just be like, what?
He's going to jump over the pond.
Stop.
But yeah, so his real name is that, like I said, he's half demon, half human. Makes him quite unique, obviously, among everybody else. His abilities are superhuman strength, speed, durability, senses. He's a trained combatant and marksman. Now, for senses, it's not like Wolverine, like, he's going to smell you from like 10 miles away kind of thing.
Blade can do that.
He's, when we get the Blade, we'll do that.
Oh, yes?
But it's not like he could hear better than people can. He could see better than people can, stuff like that. It's not like something like he can't touch better than people can. I'm pretty sure he's probably a super taster. If you know what that is, you studied psychology, if you know what I'm talking about. Durability, like, we'll get into all that. His equipment, though, Right Hand of Doom, the trademark thing people usually associate with Hellboy when it comes to things he's not really born with, per se.
Big ass fist.
Yeah, really big fist. The Sumerian, which is something that was originally introduced in the films.
Samaritan.
The Samaritan, that's right.
You want to try that again?
No.
Okay. Cut out me saying that then.
And various supernatural weapons and gear. He works for paranormal agency. Basically, it's like the FBI for paranormal activity. So kind of like X-Files in a way.
Sort of like
I
an
guess.
agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, kind of like being an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., but just for like paranormal, like ghosts,
without
demons.
the logo on everything.
Yeah, without the logo, because they're actually secretive organizations.
Yes, supposedly.
But yeah, so that's kind of something very similar to him and Blade. They're both kind of, for lack of a better word, hunters of the supernatural. You could say that boldly, or you can't. I don't know. It really depends on how you do it.
You could say boldly or softly, depending on how you feel.
Okay, so Hellboy's strength, start off the stats for him. Max is 10 tons. He is fairly strong. In this universe, demons, they're not like lifting 100,000 tons. They're not lifting planets. But 10 tons is still fairly strong. I don't know a lot of people that can lift 10 tons. I don't know a lot of people that can even lift 1 ton. So he's a very, very physical opponent, especially with the right hand of Doom. If he punches you in the face, it's gonna hurt, in case you don't know. And then his speed is enhanced. Being a demon, a lot of his stats are naturally higher than humans' stats are. So he can't do things like, run so fast. He runs over water. But he has quicker reflexes than people. He could run a bit faster than people, even though if you see Hellboy in comics, his legs look a little skinny, especially compared to the rest of his body. Don't let that.
Upper body day.
Yeah, every day for Hellboy is upper body day, but don't let that fool you. His legs are still pretty strong. Then after that, we have
He doesn't like press.
fighting. He's a trained combatant when it comes to fighting. When he was born, he was essentially, I'd say, basically instantly after he was born and he ended up on Earth, he was taken in and trained to basically deal with supernatural foes. So his real main focus when it comes to combat, besides the fact that he could take on a regular brute per se, but really he could also take on various supernatural foes, like everything ranging from ghosts to goblins to trolls, etc.
Etc.
And then we go to intelligence. He's learned, like I said, since the beginning he's been trained. Also, at the same time, he's been educated. So he isn't stupid. A lot of people might think he's stupid because, he's really strong. And for some reason, sadly, there's always the misconception that if you have the brawn, you can't have the brain. Hellboy has both.
The same thing goes for Ben Grimm. Because I feel like he's shorthanded. He is actually a very smart person, but because he's big and made out of rocks, people think he's dumb.
Yeah.
I blame Michael Chiklis.
Okay. But then we go to durability. It's regeneration. He can do things like take high caliber, like machine gun. He can take machine gun fire pretty well. He can take being stabbed very well. The way his durability works, it's obviously he's very durable. He can take high pressure, high energy blasts, stuff like that. But he also has like kind of an instantaneous regeneration. Things that would be extremely fatal to us, like being stabbed in a vital organ, for example, or that vital organ being somewhat ripped out. If there's enough, like let's say I think about 20% left, Hellboy can heal that back. That's even without magical means, because with magical means, obviously everything's much more enhanced. But just naturally, he is very durable. As you can see, 4 bars regeneration. Now we get to energy. He has none energy projection. A lot of people, might expect, hey, he's a demon. Shouldn't he have like pyrokinesis? No, that's not how it works. He doesn't do magic, and there you go. In case you had that misconception. So Hellboy's equipment, he has, like I mentioned earlier when we were talking about his kind of like brief overview of his stuff, he has the right hand of Doom. It's indestructible and has minor magical properties. Now the right hand of Doom is the key to starting Armageddon. So it's a pretty big deal, but also at the same time, it, like I said earlier, if you get punched in the face with it, it's gonna hurt because it's indestructible, and it's
heavy.
It's I don't really know how to say it per se. Like, picture getting hit with the sledgehammer,
heavy.
Pretty much. Yeah, like it's gonna hurt. Then we have the Samaritan. Now, the Samaritan is that big gun you see there. It was originally introduced in the films, but it was so popular with the character because Hellboy always uses different supernatural weapons, gear, guns, knives, swords, things like that. Fun note: he once used Excalibur. As a descendant of King Arthur, he technically can use that. You can pull it out of the sword, or the sword out of the stone. Just in case you didn't know that. So look at that. Think about that. And he could lead the dead army of England.
Because he's rightfully
the King of England.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tom, what do you think?
I'm not going to get into that now, though. I just thought it'd be interesting to note. Standard equipment, the Samaritan, like I said, introduced in the Hellboy films, later on brought into comics. You can find usually the latest Hellboy comics have it, even though his series isn't going on as far as I know anymore. It's Abe Sapien that has his comic going on, which is, I heard, really well written. So the Good Samaritan, though, it has supernatural ammunition. That pretty much means things commonly associated with killing supernatural beings, like silver bullets, holy water, death material, etc., garlic. He has all of those. Also, they have very powerful bullets with very strong explosive rounds. So when they hit you, it's going to hurt and it's going to do a lot of damage. It's not a traditional pistol like it looks in pictures and what you might think of. So that's really it. Also, he has various supernatural weapons and gear, depending on the situation, depending on which supernatural opponent he's fighting. So that's pretty much it for Hellboy at this time. To cap on, and I'll hand it over to White Sheep with Blade.
Alright, so I have Blade, as Hybrid just said. His real name is Eric Brooks.
I thought his real name was
Wesley Snipes.
Blackula or something. Blackula?
That's his other alter ego.
Blah, blah. Hand me the Uzi.
His abilities are superhuman strength, speed, durability, senses, agility, stamina. He's a master martial artist and marksman, as well as a knife fighter and a very experienced and skilled swordsman. His equipment has various custom guns, knives, swords, and armor. And a little bit about Blade. He is actually... It's interesting. He has a little bit of an inconclusive past. His mother was bitten by a vampire while giving birth to him. And apparently, so because of that, he got various immunities to things. He got some vampire powers, but mainly just immunities to vampire bites and all that kind of stuff. But then he was also bitten by Morbius, the living vampire, well-known character in the Marvel Universe with a pretty good run, I hear. A pretty good comic right now. And apparently, that's a damn shame, but apparently this bite from Morbius imbued him with sort of, I guess, the more run-of-the-mill vampire powers. But he's still... It's interesting because he claims that he was already half vampire, but it seems like he didn't... It seems like he was a normal person until this vampire bite. And now he has various, supernatural abilities on par with, vampire stuff. However, he doesn't have all the weaknesses that vampire has, which basically renders much of the special ammunition that the Samaritan has pretty much useless, because silver doesn't affect him, garlic doesn't affect him. Or I guess silver is werewolf, but garlic doesn't affect him, holy water does nothing, fire, not really. But, so that's the interesting point, but he does still have to drink blood, but typically, or so I've heard, Blade actually uses a specialized, serum, that basically gives him everything that he needs so that he doesn't have to drink human blood.
If you watch Spider-Man the animated series, they explained it very well, or at least they showed it very well when Blade was on the episode. Yep. Blade was pretty much Black Wolverine in that series. Pretty
much, and I'll go into that later. But he actually still, so he doesn't have all the weaknesses the vampires have, and he actually, I would say, so it's his origin is very, it's sort of inconclusive is I think the best word, because was he a half vampire already, or was it because he was bitten by Morbius? But the serum that he has to drink, basically if he goes without it for too long, he gets weaker and he can actually die. So starting off, his strength, his max strength is 1 ton, or his max lifting is 1 ton. So that's 4 bars. Similar to Hellboy in bars, but I guess the discrepancy here is Hellboy can lift 10 tons, and Blade can lift 1 ton. Clearly also Blade is smaller. But his speed, 3 bars, it's enhanced. I would give him the edge in speed because a little bit he seems lighter and more agile.
He is half vampire. Vampires traditionally
They're traditionally faster.
Unlike Twilight, they're not the Flash.
No, that's stupid. I would say though, pound for pound, going back to strength for a second, pound for pound, I think Blade is probably, when you consider how light he is compared to how strong he is probably almost equal with Hellboy. So for fighting, he is a master martial artist with 5 bars of fighting skill. Going to intelligence, he has 2 bars of intelligence. That's normal. Not very learned, but, not dumb.
Learned?
Learned. That's how you say it,
Come on,
isn't it?
Why should you need to learn?
Learned. I need to learn. I'm going to learn today.
Yeah, you gonna learn.
He has normal intelligence.
You gonna learn today, blah blah.
And for his durability, he's actually 4 bars, pretty much the same as Hellboy, although he's not as dense as Hellboy is. He can regenerate. He can't regenerate missing limbs or missing body organs and stuff like that, but he can regenerate over time from cuts, bullet wounds, and slashes faster than normal humans would be able to. He can also take more of a beating than normal humans, but he can't. Because Hellboy is, his skin is extremely durable and dense, and Blade does not have that going for him. Onto energy projection. Blade has no energy projection, similar to Hellboy. So yeah, but going to equipment, Blades, he actually has various guns, knives, and swords made to kill supernatural beings, like Hellboy, including silver bullets, garlic weapons, and he's got 2 adamantium swords that are sort of his thing. At least 2, probably more weapons. But he also wears a Kevlar body armor that protects him from some bullets. I'm not sure how effective it would be against the Samaritan bullets, though.
It would not be effective against Samaritan bullets. They are explosive rounds. They explode on impact.
They're explosive rounds, but they're also heavy caliber. Look at the gun. It's definitely above 44.
It's definitely not a Nerf gun.
Yes, it's more than a 9mm. I'm just going to jump into it and say, while this would be a tough matchup, I think Blade would win in a combination of pound for pound. And I use that term, yes, Hellboy's stronger, but I think considering how light and agile Blade is, as Josh has said, Hellboy he needs to land a punch. He needs to, hit him with the bullets and Blade will go down. But I feel like Blade's speed would make that really hard for Hellboy to do. And I'll just give Josh a chance to defend his side here.
You want me to rebuttal you?
Yes, rebut me.
Use your word, rebuttal.
Rebut.
Okay. So,
rebut is the verb.
As we all know, Hellboy is a badass. I think that's very
objection.
I think that's very clear.
Hearsay.
Now, here's why I think Hellboy will win. We went over the stats. White Sheep has his whole pound for pound thing. He has his whole speed thing. Unlike Blade, Hellboy was trained since a child and educated as a child to fight supernatural beings, and not just vampires, but various kinds, ghosts, goblins, other demons, trolls, etc., vampires included. Blade, on the other hand, has really selectively gotten himself, and not even from as a kid, he's only selectively trained himself to fight really just vampires. Maybe if every now and then he'll fight another supernatural being, but usually it's just vampires. That's his thing. Now, speed, I think Blade probably does have the edge in speed, but look at his name. His name is Blade. What is he always using? Daggers, swords, knives.
However, he is a master martial artist.
What does Hellboy use? A big-ass gun.
Blade has guns, too.
Yes, but usually...
Various semi-automatic and automatic
usually,
weapons.
When Blade is, going around, he has a blade with him.
Because that's what he
and
has.
And Hellboy has the Samaritan.
If he stabs him with the adamantium blade or cuts off his head, it's over.
All right, if we're bringing blades into this, though, Hellboy has Excalibur, the mystical sword of King Arthur.
Adamantium beats
I'm
Excalibur.
pretty sure that's going to be... It's mystical. It's mystical. It's indestructible. It's magic. It's magic.
But does Hellboy really know how to use it?
Yes, he used it to command the dead army of England.
It gives him the right to command, not necessarily the knowledge to wield it. He's not trained in swords.
He is actually a trained swordsman.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
That was part of his training with the paranormal agency. I can never remember their full name. It's basically Paranormal Shield. Going back to why I think Hellboy would win, though, because we've been very comedic in this episode, yes. And it's pretty nice considering how dark these characters really are. If you read them, most of the time they usually don't have funny moments with them. Hellboy more than Blade, but usually they're pretty dark in their own right due to just what they're dealing with. Demons, end of the world, etc. Now, the other reason I think Hellboy will win is because he is much stronger. He is 10 times stronger than Blade. That is a big difference. If you don't believe me, try fighting a gorilla with a sledgehammer for a hand.
He's also bigger,
And
slower,
just-
doesn't squat.
Like, just think about this. All right, give a trained in combat gorilla a sledgehammer for a hand. Put him up against a human trained in Taekwondo black belt with a sword, a katana. Give him a katana. That's not gonna, like, that person might win, but he's gonna get a beating of a lifetime.
Can I rebut your rebuttal?
Yes, rebut my
Okay,
rebuttal.
I'll rebut your rebuttal. I like that you used the analogy of a gorilla, because a lot of you may notice Hellboy.
It's because he's
He
hairy.
looks middle aged, right? He's actually been alive for 60 years. He has slowed aging,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's decelerating.
but however,
longevity.
he advanced. Actually, what happened is he advanced to physical prime quickly. However, his intelligence and his personality did not mature at all, and so he still has the personality and maturation of an adolescent.
Not right now.
Actually, yes, he still
Not
does.
currently.
He still does.
You say he's 60 years old.
He actually no, he's 60 years old. However, his personality didn't age. His personality, literally, he aged faster. His body aged faster than his mind.
Okay, I will let you rebuttal your. I'll let you finish your rebuttal.
Okay,
Go
no,
ahead.
his mind is still an adolescent's mind.
Okay, go
I
rebuttal.
have done my research.
Go rebuttal.
That, I think, gives Blade an interesting edge, because he's more trained in fighting, and he's fighting someone he knows he can probably goad into brutality like a gorilla.
Hellboy is more trained in fighting than Blade.
Look at the bars.
Yeah, they're both trained in fighting.
But Hellboy's a master.
Blade's a master.
Blade's a master.
In one.
In one.
Hellboy has been trained in multiple.
Oh, this is like our most divisive one. We're actually going at it.
Well, actually, I'd say Blade maybe does have the edging hand-to-hand like close-range combat, just because usually he does fight with swords, and Hellboy usually just pulls out the Samaritan and job
That's
well
true.
done, marksman.
Yep. I'm just gonna. I think Blade is gonna win because I think that Hellboy has the mentality of an adolescent. He might be trained, but he's not a master in really anything. Just good across the board in multiple things. And while that's interesting and it brings a variety of tactics that he could use, I think Blade wins because he's faster and he's a little more grown up. Would you like to rebut of my rebuttal?
Yeah, actually. So what I'm gonna say to kind of, because you guys might be like, Blade actually might win because he's faster and it's Blade and it's Wesley Snipes and it's Blackula.
He evaded taxes. He can evade Hellboy's bullets.
Okay, so I guess my kind of final remarks on why I think Hellboy would win is, he was trained to fight various supernatural threats, not just one. So he's probably very well equipped and very well experienced with fighting vampires. But anyways, he's had experience with them before. Also, he is a demon himself. Now, also, like I said, he has the right hand of doom. Now, getting hit by that, it can murder somebody. That's all I'm going to say. It can murder somebody in one punch, especially if he uses all the strength he has. So I'm pretty sure if he gets a really good hit on Blade, he will die. Now, also, Whitesheet mentioned this about Blade earlier, and I'm going to exploit it. Blade has a dependency. He has to have a certain type of fluid.
That's over days.
Let it be blood. But if he's exerting himself a lot, that time limit decreases because obviously he's going to need more energy and stuff like that to operate. So let's say this fight takes place because they can both go on for a while. I think it's fair to say.
But it's days before he needs it.
Yeah, but who's to say that they start fighting?
That's true.
When
if it is, it's going to be a really good matchup. It could be days.
Like it could be a day or two after Blade took his dosage. It could be right after Blade took his dosage. Time could be an enemy for Blade.
Yep.
I'm not gonna say it will be definitely because we do the whole neutral ground thing, but let's say it could be, and that would be a big weakness for Blade because he'll be decreasingly getting weaker. Hellboy doesn't have that weakness. The Hellboy, and the thing with Blade is that if Blade were to stab Hellboy, because that will probably happen due to adamantium blades. Let's say he stabs Hellboy, it won't kill Hellboy. At least it won't kill Hellboy unless he cuts Hellboy in half, which isn't gonna happen. So honestly, I think Hellboy would win. It's just it's Hellboy.
You think
it's Ron
you
Perlman.
Think it's foregone. All right. Well, then I guess that about wraps
Gun
it
to
up.
the face.
Gun to the face. Okay, well, that's You said that it wouldn't happen that he gets cut in half. I'm not even gonna. I'm done.
Hellboy won't die unless you cut him.
done.
You cut him in half or you cut his head off.
I'm done. I'm done. I still think Blade would win. I don't need to hear any more of this nonsense. I'm just not gonna listen to reason. Anyways, I think that about wraps it up for me and Hybrid here. So, I mean, I forgot who you thought was gonna win. Just say it one more time.
Ron Perlman.
Notice he didn't say Hellboy. I'm gonna say Wesley Snipes then.
No, Black
He can
Widow.
evade taxes. He can evade that giant fist. Okay.
I hope you guys like this episode's comedic tone. Very similar. I think the last one we did that was this comedic was the Mandarin one.
Should we
where
be more
were
comedic?
So racist.
Yes, we were.
No one called us out
Josh
on it.
was extremely racist, not me.
No one called us out on it.
Josh is insensitive to the Asian community. Anyways, signing off. Jesus Christ. You're literally worse than like a journalist from the 1920s.
Ah, thank you so much, sorry.
You no, okay. I'm just gonna handle it. Just
subscribe,
stop.
comment.
Hybrid
like.
has been he's been suspended. At the end, civil liberties, American Civil Liberties Union is coming after him. All right, that about it wraps it up. Like if you liked this video, comment to get in touch with us, and comment to tell us who you think would win, and subscribe if you haven't already to see more from CBVS and also get alerts when we release new videos. Anyways, signing off. I'm White Sheep.
And I'm Hybrid, and you just watched the first episode of Comic Book Versus only on Hybrid Network.
Hybrid Network, and thank you for not saying that with an Asian accent.
Me so sorry.